You're listening to KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio, your favorite prehistoric podcast for research, entertainment, and all things dinosaurs.
Welcome all my dinosaur fans, all of our prehistoric enthusiasts, all our Jurassic Park and lovers, everybody and anybody who loves dinosaurs. I'm your host, Dinosaur Ranger Anthony, and you're listening to KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio. That's right, we are here ready to kick off another amazing episode, you guys. Today is episode number 15. What another great milestone for KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio. Perfect. We're all situated, ready to rock and roll for today. And we are live from here in the Dino Bus. It is 57 degrees outside, so it is perfectly comfortable here in the Dino Bus today. The snow is all melted from last Friday, and we're ready to put on a great show. So thank you so much for joining in. Now, today is Friday, February 27th, and I hope everybody is having an amazing week this week. I had a couple date care shows yesterday. I substituted a day earlier this week, and just having tons of fun this week, doing some marketing as well. I'll get into a little bit more of that later in the show, but it's just been an amazing week. And yesterday, Banana Ball started. So the hat I'm rocking today is the Loco Beach Coconuts, my new favorite team in the Banana Ball League. It's just so much fun. They won yesterday. I don't know exactly how they won. I watched most of the game, and I still got it recorded, so I'll watch that a little bit here later today. I'll finish that baseball game. But I hope everybody is having an amazing week. Today is episode 15, like I mentioned, and we're talking about Cretaceous flowers and fruit. That's right, Cretaceous period flowers and fruit, and specifically probably the whole Mesozoic era we'll talk about today, okay? So Cretaceous period flowers and fruit is today's episode, and I got a little bit of that inspiration because of Banana Ball yesterday. Did T-Rex really know how to peel a banana? What do you guys think? Did T-Rex peel a banana? Did it eat bananas? Was there even bananas? So that's many of the things we'll talk about today. But hey, do you guys have a favorite flower? So my favorite flower, I love calla lilies, I love monstera leaves, I love birds of paradise, I like any tropical arrangement. Tropical flowers are definitely my most favorite. Those anthuriums, the red leaf with the little yellow stem on top, all kinds of cool. You can even see, there they are behind me. So I got a birds of paradise right there, there's an anthurium, and then a little orange pincushion protea down there too, with some like monstera leaves, banana leaves back there behind me, rocking here in the Dino Bus. But were those around back with the dinosaurs? We will find out today. Now, what's your favorite fruit? My favorite fruit, I love pineapples, bananas, coconuts, limes, and all kinds of berries. Everybody has to like a favorite berry, right? So all kinds of awesome fruits. But hey, you guys, this episode is brought to you by, who will be today's logo? Today's podcast brought to you by the Cretaceous Flowers and Fruit Company. That's right, the Cretaceous Flowers and Fruit Company. Thank you so much for tuning in and sponsoring KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio. But perfect, you guys. Let's go ahead and jump into segment number 1 for today's show of episode 15 of KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio. And guess what? It's Steggy's Pizza. And afraid I've got some bad news. That's right, I got a little bit of bad news, because if I reach back here, I've got a pizza box. And let's look inside. We're out of pizza. That's right. We are out of pizza here on the podcast for today. The pizza is gone. We need to put in another pizza order, you guys. We need to put a pizza order in so that we can get some more fun facts. One fun fact, everybody knows the rules. So I knew a little bit about this when I came out here and got all my equipment set up. Had no time to make more pizzas. So it's just going to be a little bit off the claw. So what is a fun fact that we could do for today's podcast that's somewhat related to our topic of discussion today. We were talking about bananas earlier. Did T-Rex eat bananas? No. T-Rex eats meat. It did not eat bananas. Was there bananas back during the Mesozoic Era? No. There was no bananas. There was specifically no fruit that we know today from the grocery store back with the dinosaurs. And we'll talk all about that today. So essentially, there was no grocery store fruit and vegetables that like we know and love today back with the dinosaurs in the Mesozoic Era. So no veggie lovers pizza could have been made like we know it today with green peppers and onions and mushrooms, black olives. What else could there be? Maybe some banana peppers, or maybe those are technically more fruit-like, right? They're not veggies. I don't know. That's all kinds of things. Do they have seeds? Are there no seeds? Those are primarily differences between vegetables and fruit, but then it gets all kinds of confusing. What are tomatoes? Those have seeds. Those are fruit, but they're treated like vegetables. But anyway, you guys, that is our Steggy's Pizza for today. Let's go ahead and move into segment number 2, and that is Mesozoic or Cretaceous flowers and fruit. So that is our topic of discussion today. We're talking about prehistoric botany, and I just seen right there in our YouTube chat. Good morning, David. Thank you so much for tuning on in to our podcast episode as we are just ready to begin segment 2 as we're talking about Cretaceous period flowers and fruit. All the vegetation. So vegetation, they are living things too, so those can fossilize as well. So remember, fossils are preserved remains or traces of ancient life. So it can be any kind of remains of a living creature, a living organism. So flowers, all kinds of fruits, vegetables, they can be all kinds of flowers. Were there flower lilies? We will talk about some lilies, David. So no lilies like we know today. So if I look out my window right now, we are in the end of February. The second to last day of February. There is no flowers out there, and all the grass is brown. But if we were to be in a perfect spring and flowers were blooming, there wouldn't be any of the flowers we know today back with the dinosaurs. But we had kind of like some trees and things like that. So let me go ahead and pull open our lesson for today, and we'll go ahead and get started. So we're going to talk about the main plant types of the Mesozoic Era. We will talk about when did the first flowering plants appear, and we'll also talk about the first earliest edible fruit, the first edible fruit of the earth, okay? So let's go ahead and scroll down here. You guys, the main plant types of the Mesozoic Era. So we know when we see like movies like Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, all the dinosaurs look like they're running through some kind of rainforest, when actually a lot of the time is going to be more like conifer trees. So think of more like redwood forest, more of those pine needle-like trees, kind of like Christmas trees. So all kinds of evergreen trees are going to more fill out the land, fill out our environment. So even though the movies kind of make it seem like it's like some kind of tropical rainforest, think about it more of just like a normal forest with all sorts of evergreen trees, okay? So you guys, most Mesozoic plants didn't have flowers, and dinosaurs lived among cone trees, cycads, ginkgos, and lots of ferns. Now, flowers didn't really show up until the end of the dinosaur age, the end of the Mesozoic Era. So let's talk about some plants that were around in the Mesozoic Era, okay? We've got conifer trees. These are cone-bearing trees. Pine-like trees, redwoods, and their relatives. Now, most conifer trees are evergreen trees, and we still have those today. I can look outside my window. 1, 2, 3, 4. I see at least 4 evergreen trees just right outside the Dino Bus windows right here. Now, they first appeared 300 million years ago. They produce cones instead of flowers, and all have needles or scale-like leaves, and they are the dominant tree across much of the world. Now we had cycads. Cycads are palmy plants. They look like small palm trees but aren't true palms, sometimes called living fossils because we still have them today. They first appeared 280 million years ago and flourished during the Jurassic period. Now they have thick woody trunks with crowns of stiff leaves, and they're large enough to resemble a tree, and that's why they kind of look like little palm trees but not true palm trees, and they're very common dinosaur food plants. So all those plant-eating dinosaurs definitely would have been eating on all kinds of cycads. Now, we also had ginkgos, and this is a seed-bearing tree. It's a tree with somewhat of fan-shaped leaves. So if you think of its leaves, it kind of looks like a fan that you kind of try and get some cool air with. A nice fanned leaf. Now, they lost their leaves in the fall, we believe, and they first appeared 270 million years ago. And only one species survives today, and that's the ginkgo tree. And that's how we kind of know that they lose their leaves in the fall. Now, you guys, another plant considered a living fossil, since the species has remained largely unchanged for millions and millions of years. And it once was much more widespread. They were incredibly resilient to pest and pollution and can live for over 1,000 years and are one of the oldest tree species on our planet today. And those are the ginkgos. Now, we also have ferns and horsetails, and these are vascular plants. So ferns, no flower or seeds, you guys. They have spores, and spores are released in the air by tiny brown dots on the under of the leaves, on the underside of the leaves called sori. Now, ferns covered the forest floor and swampy areas and are still common today. Now, horsetails are tall reed-like plants. Some grew tree-sized back then, and they also reproduced with spores. With those little tiny brown dots underneath the leaves called sori, they would release the spores up into the air, and that's how we can get more of their types of plants. Then we also have, last one, Glissopteris, and this is a tree-sized seed-furred plant. They went extinct, you guys. These plants had tongue-shaped leaves and first appeared 300 million years ago. They produce seeds, but no flowers, and they are very important, you guys, because it's evidence of continental drift. They're found all across the southern continents that were once joined together in that supercontinent of Pangaea. So again, you guys, our main plant types back in the Mesozoic era, we got conifer trees, we have cycad plants, you guys, those palmy plants. We've got ginkgos, which are seed-bearing trees with fan-shaped leaves. We got ferns and horsetails, which are vascular plants, and we have Glissopteris plants, which are sort of like a tree-sized seed-furred plant with those tongue-shaped leaves. It looks like big giraffe tongues. So those are our main plants back during the Mesozoic era, and what our dinosaurs would have been munching on is specifically the herbivores, eating all kinds of plant life. So they're going to be eating all kinds of trees and ferns and palmy-like plants back during the Mesozoic era. But you guys, when did we get the first flowering plants? When did those first flowering plants appear? And that is our second bullet point for today. Now, you guys, fun fact, my first corporate job out of college was actually at Piccolo's Florist. So I worked at a flower shop at one time. So I worked there for about a year, you guys, and my wife's grandfather, Frank Piccolo, owned the store. So it was Piccolo's Florist. He is Frank Piccolo. He owned the store. He created the company way back late 80s, early 90s, you guys. Now, he ended up selling the business in the 90s, and then fast forward to around 2015, he was back as the general manager under the McCarthy Group Florist, and I became the social media director for the parent company, McCarthy Group Florist. They owned a bunch of flower shops all across the country, and still do, but they keep the original name, so it kind of makes it seem like it's still that mom and pop shop. And I was their social media director, so I did all their Facebook and Instagram and Vine and some YouTube videos, all for all those different flower shops. It was tons of fun. I loved working with my wife's grandfather, Frank, and then my boss, Mark Pitt, was totally amazing. He was from England, and he's back there now, and he and Frank and Mark, we just had so many amazing laughs. It was tons of fun working there. But back to our podcast. Let's get out of the flower shop, Piccolo's Florist, and come back to the Dino Bus. So you guys, flowering plants are known as angiosperms. They didn't appear until the early Cretaceous period, around 125 to 130 million years ago. Now, angiosperms mean they are plants that make seeds. Flowers produce pollen, right? And bees carry that pollen from flower to flower. And this helps helps the flowers make seeds so new plants can grow. Now, flowers were small and not very dominant at first, but later became a main plant on our planet. Now, you guys, let's talk about some key flowers. So I mentioned we had all those conifer trees and palmy-like plants and ferns and vascular plants, all kinds of conifer trees, those evergreens, all kinds of palms. But let's talk about the flowers. So we're not getting those flowers, like I said, until the early Cretaceous period, 125, 130 million years ago. But you guys, what did they look like? They were not colorful, and they were small. They lacked petals, but they had either carpels or stamens to help produce seeds. So they were true flowers in the way that the flower reproduced and makes new flowers, but they were no flower like we know today. Don't think about pretty colorful flowers or some stuff with petals and things like that. So I got two prehistoric flowers that I'll mention on today's podcast, okay? And these are the Archaefructus, and the Montsequia. Now, the Archaefructus, it was one of the oldest known flowering plants, 125 million years ago. It lived in aquatic environments, flourishing in small, shallow lakes. It produced simple seed-bearing structures. It looked like the cross between a fern and seaweed with no petals. Remember, no petals. And it had slender stems, feathery leaves, and was arranged along an elongated stalk, or kind of like their stem that comes up out of the ground. So that is the Archaefructus, one of the oldest plants, lived in the aquatic environments, had the seed-bearing structure, but you guys, it looked like a cross between a fern and some seaweed, no petals, a slender stem, you guys, and some feathery leaves. And that was the Archaefructus. Now, our next one is the Montsequia. The Montsequia is possibly even older, 130 million years ago. Now, it was submerged in a freshwater plant with an enclosed seed. So it was submerged in fresh water, and it's a plant with enclosed seeds. Now, it resembles a modern-day coontail, a stringy weed-like plant. And it had small green branching stem, tiny leaves around a spiral, you guys, and it contained a single enclosed seed. And it's considered among the earliest flowering plant, and that's the Montsequia. So those two right there, you guys, are our first evidence of flowering plants back during the Mesozoic Era, specifically in the Cretaceous period. So maybe some of the little dinosaurs, you guys, might have ate some of these. And like I mentioned, they're kind of getting their start in the water, right? I mentioned that Archaefructus was in aquatic environments, that Montsequia was underwater, submerged in fresh water, so no salt water like in the big giant oceans. So it's going to be more in little lakes and stuff, inland waters. So they're both starting from sort of aquatic environments. And maybe that's why they're not as pretty as like some of the ones that we see out that we have on the land today. As they start to make their way onto dry land, maybe that's when we're getting more exotic, like all kinds of beautiful flowers, okay? But that is our plants, or our two first flowering plants, okay? So that is our flowers of the Cretaceous period. But what about the first earliest edible fruit? Do you guys love fruit? I sure hope so. Fruit are amazing. What did I have today? I had a banana today in my protein shake that's actually just sitting right there, emptied. It was delicious. But you guys, by the late Cretaceous period, around 90 to 70 million years ago, flowering plants diversified rapidly and began producing small fruits. Now, these were small and berry-like. There was no fruit you'd recognize at the grocery store today, but they were probably still eaten by small dinosaurs, early birds, and mammals. Now, true fruit comes from flowering plants, angiosperms that we just talked about, and those didn't appear in the fossil record until the early Cretaceous period, like I mentioned earlier. Now, if you walk through a late Cretaceous forest, you might see small primitive berries, but you wouldn't find an apple tree or maybe a banana plant. Fruits like apples, peaches, oranges, bananas, grapes, you guys, those all all evolved after the dinosaurs went extinct, mostly during the Cenozoic Era, or the age of mammals, right? So, you guys, there was little berries. That's pretty much sums it up. There was no food. There was no fruits, like if you were to go to the grocery store today and see a beautiful produce section of all kinds of melons and grapes and bananas and apples and peaches and lemons and limes, coconuts, all kinds of those beautiful fruit that we have today, the dinosaurs didn't have. And maybe that's why they went extinct. They weren't getting a great diet. Now, they did have those greens. They were eating plenty of salads, but no nice sweet fruits that we have today. But you guys, they did have, like I mentioned, more like small berry-like things that are sort of diversifying from those early flowers, right? So we're getting those angiosperms in the early Cretaceous period. By the late Cretaceous period, we're getting the flowering plants are diversifying, and we're getting some of those small fruits, okay? Now, you guys, I should also mention prehistoric vegetables. You need to eat your vegetables. That's right. Let me see here on our chat real quick. David, you need to eat your vegetables. What's your favorite vegetable? My favorite vegetable. What's my favorite vegetable? I like mushrooms, but they got to be filled with like cream cheese or some crab meat. I don't like celery. Broccoli's good. I like broccoli, cauliflower. I love carrots, but I need a little bit of ranch to dip them in. You always need good ranch. But anyways, you guys, let's talk about those vegetables real quick. So dinosaurs didn't eat broccoli or carrots. Those came way after they were gone. But did they eat Mesozoic Era plants? But they did eat Mesozoic Era plants like ferns, horsetails, cycads, ginkgos, and conifers. So some seeds and roots could have also been eaten by small animals and dinosaurs. All those plants that we talked about at the beginning of our lesson, those 6 different plants, you guys, all these plants could be considered veggie ancestors. They were edible in some form of seeds, stems, and leaves, but they aren't necessarily the vegetables we know today. Domesticated vegetables didn't appear until 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, scientists believe. But you guys, that is our lesson today. We talked about all kinds of the main types, right? The main types of our plant life in the Mesozoic Era. We mentioned the first flowering plants back in the early Cretaceous period, and we talked about the earliest edible fruit in the late Cretaceous period. And I also threw in those vegetables, which aren't the vegetables we know today, but all those seeds and leaves and roots that were back during the Mesozoic Era. Those are like the veggie ancestors, okay? So that is our lesson on Cretaceous flowers and fruit. Make sure to eat all your fruit and vegetables and grab a flower, just like those ones back there behind me. But you guys, that's our lesson. Let's go ahead and move into segment number 3. Oh yeah, David, sweet potatoes. Those are a good fruit. My wife loves sweet potatoes. But let's go ahead. We've got a prehistoric cage match to do today. So let's go ahead and grab our spinning wheel. Dun, 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 dun. Our prehistoric cage match. Here's our wheel for today. We were down to, I got 72 entries still on this list. So let's go ahead and knock 2 more prehistoric creatures off of our list for today. Let's give her a spin. It's spinning around. Give us, which one shall we get today? Ooh, the Sarcosuchus. I can already tell this is going to be a great one. All right, let's remove Sarcosuchus, our ancient crocodilian, and we will give it one more. Come on, give us just that big theropod meat-eating dinosaur. Give us a battle for the ages. Keep going, keep going. What are we doing? A Minmi. Come on. I might have to do an audible. Okay, we all know Sarcosuchus steps on up and it just devours Minmi, okay? Minmi is just too small, little tiny ankylosaurid. It would just get destroyed in one snap of the Sarcosuchus' jaws. So let's go ahead and do another spin. Just one more. I know it's against the rules, but Minmi, Sarcosuchus, we need a showdown. Give us a showdown. Oh, here we go. Alamosaurus. So it's not, here, let's go ahead and close out of this. Remove this one. Here we go. This is going to be what we wanted. This is truly what we wanted right here. All right, let's go ahead and close out of our spinning wheel, you guys. And we have got a showdown of a lifetime. That's right, David. It would have been game over for Minmi. It would have been done. The bell would have rang, and then the bell would have rang again because it would have just been a goner. But we've got an amazing matchup for today. So let's go ahead and ring the bell. Our prehistoric cage match. Here we go, folks. We are ready for a prehistoric showdown of the ages. Episode number 15 of KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio. Up first, we have the Alamosaurus, a big, beefy, giant sauropod, up to 98 feet long, 43 feet high, weighing 80 tons. Then we have a meat eater. We've got the Sarcosuchus. It's known as the super croc. The Sarcosuchus, 40 feet long, probably only 3 feet high, but don't let that make it any weaker. It was 8.5 tons, a 5.5-foot skull with 132 sharp teeth. Now, here we go. They are both here in the arena, you guys. Sarcosuchus, remember our Sarcosuchus up to 40 feet long, and our Alamosaurus 98 feet long. Now, truly, Alamosaurus has the advantage, right? It's got the size advantage. It is twice as long and way, way heavier than our Sarcosuchus. But Sarcosuchus has those 132 sharp, dagger-like, dangerous teeth, and it's ready to have a quick snack. Just an awesome buffet of sauropod. So as these two prehistoric creatures come one-on-one on the battlefield, the Sarcosuchus might quickly start trying to get a few jabs in onto the legs of the Alamosaurus. It even grabs the tail of the Alamosaurus. Now, it's not going to be able to pull it down or anything, but it's able to do some chomps onto the tail of the Alamosaurus. The Alamosaurus whips its tail out of its jaws and kind of spins around a little bit as it stomps its feet. It's like, what's going on? Something is actually challenging me here on the battlefield. Our Sarcosuchus goes and tries to take a few lunges at the belly of our Alamosaurus as it tries to get it in its stomach, as the Alamosaurus slowly reaches up onto its hind legs and kind of boom, hits the ground down with its front feet, having somewhat of an earth shake as the ground shakes everywhere, you guys. Now, at the end of the day, we know this is a showdown for the ages. This is an ultimate prehistoric cage match. Sarcosuchus doesn't have the size, but it has the weapons, those teeth. Or Alamosaurus does have the size. Would that be able to overcome the Sarcosuchus? So, you guys, at the end of the day, I'm going to give this one, you guys. I believe that the size of the Alamosaurus would just be able to bounce down with its front legs, you guys, and it would crush and destroy the Sarcosuchus. So our winner for episode 15 of KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio is the Alamosaurus. Boom! Sauropods for the win, baby. That is what we're doing. Sauropods. Right here, I have our Dreadnoughtus, our Diplodocus. Which other ones right here? A bunch of sauropods. Oh, and there goes Dreadnoughtus. Let's go ahead and grab him. He's on my stand right here. I've got our Dreadnoughtus. It's just giant. Boom. There we go. Dreadnoughtus for the win. A family member of Alamosaurus. Sauropods. All right. There we go. That was it. Alamosaurus for the win for today. Sauropods are amazing creatures, you guys. And Sarcosuchus, even with those teeth, I don't think would stand a chance. That's right. Alamosaurus for the win. All right, let's go ahead and go into our closing segment for today as we wrap up episode number 15 of KPG 66.5 Dinosaur Talk Radio, your favorite prehistoric podcast for research, entertainment, and all things dinosaurs. All right, thank you so much, dinosaur fans. I hope you've enjoyed episode number 5, 10, 15. Now, I looked up my Spreaker, you guys, so my Spreaker downloads are up to 47,579, but that includes my original podcast. The Dinosaur Review for Kids was my original podcast, over 80 episodes. I reviewed dinosaurs, then did dinosaur battles. Super fun. Go listen to those if you want to check it out. My new podcast, I'm up to just about 292 downloads, tons of views here on YouTube. I see each week I get a few more viewers that go and check out some of my podcast episodes. So thank you so much if you've been tuning in. Now, some marketing updates, you guys. I didn't share this earlier. I'm up to 152 shows, events for 2026, 116 for this summer alone, and that ties last summer already. So this summer is going to be huge, as big as that Alamosaurus that won our showdown. Alamosaurus is just amazing. Great job again. Now, you guys, we have fish fry number 2 for tonight over at St. Stephen's. You guys, are you ready for fish and shrimps? I think I'm going to get some salmon tonight. But the piscivores like Spinosaurus would have loved a good fish fry. Now, you guys, I want to do a couple birthday shout-outs. Happy birthday to one of my super fans here in Omaha, Robbie. It's his birthday today. I hope he's having an amazing day at school. Going to have an amazing dinner tonight. Hopefully some good food, some good presents, and all kinds of dinosaur fun. I also have a birthday for tomorrow over at the Durham Museum. I don't know that friend's name yet, but tomorrow I'll meet that new dinosaur fan and wish them a very happy birthday as I do all kinds of fun dinosaur stuff over at the Durham Museum. Now, you guys, you can see my shirt. It says Tigers. So I'm just about to wrap up our podcast for today, and then I gotta hurry up and pack up my stuff, get in my new Dino Jeep that I think its name is going to be 41, because the paint color is called 41 green. So I kind of been calling him 41. But you guys, I got to get to Hitchcock Elementary School and be the substitute teacher this afternoon for Reagan's class. My daughter, Junior Dinosaur Reagan, needs a substitute teacher. The kindergarten teacher had to go, so I'm going to go sub their class here in just 30 minutes. So I'm going to have tons of fun with all those kindergarteners today. But you guys, remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel as it continues to grow. I love putting these podcasts together every Friday. Next week, I think I'm going to do theropods. Unleash the sauropods, or not sauropods, unleash the theropods. So all those two-legged meat eaters of the Mesozoic Era. And I think I will also introduce you guys to Phineas, my new dinosaur puppet. I will bring my new dinosaur T-Rex puppet onto the show so that you guys can see him for our theropod episode next week. Perfect. All right, let's go ahead and close up a few more of these things. Let's see. David, what do you say here? David's got a basketball game today, and we'll send them back to the past. That's right, David. I wish you good luck for your basketball game today, and make sure to put down the hammer like the Alamosaurus did today against the Sarcosuchus. It's the Alamosaurus basketball team. Perfect. That's too cool. An Alamosaurus is kind of like the Alamo down in San Antonio, right? Now, he didn't actually get his name. I've reviewed this dinosaur before. Alamosaurus gets his name from a place, like the formation, I believe. Don't quote me. It might be the formation or a place in New Mexico. So even though it sounds like the famous Alamo, the cool fort down in San Antonio, it's not actually named after the fort in San Antonio, but it's still cool nonetheless. But David, I wish you good luck today on your basketball game. But let's go ahead and do our closing slogan for today, you guys. I've just got a couple minutes before I gotta get out of here and make sure to get to the school on time. I do not want to be late teaching those kindergartners today. Now, always remember, thanks to the dinosaurs for giving us this passion. But this is our world now. Get out there, do something good, and never be afraid to show your claws. Dinosaur Ranger Anthony signing out. We'll see you guys later.